Oh, sorry, wrong button. Makeup girl, honestly. Go away. Afternoon, everyone in the UK, and morning, evening, wherever else in the world you're watching. So thanks for being with us. Myself, James, and Malcolm. We're just going to make some conversation today about the Moosearoo build that Malcolm is about to embark on. He's going to go through the kit. He's going to talk to you about what his aspirations are with the kit, and the fact that he's going to do it in 48 hours and all of that sort of stuff. And I mean, I'm joking, obviously. And we've got a special guest, which we'll come to in a minute. But before we do that, I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat. There's not many people who are saying hello. If you are watching, say hello. Make sure you put a chat in. Make sure you interact with us. Ask Malcolm as many questions as you like that are model making related. Other questions will have to be sorted out another time. So we have with us the Plastic Alchemist. Saying hello, sir. How are you doing? We're doing well, mate. And Mark Shellard is there saying good afternoon to everybody. So yeah, about 10 people watching. Make sure you put a comment in, and there we go. Dean's just done that as well. Dean Troller, he's saying hi, chaps. Hope the build goes well, Malcolm.
Thank you, Dean.
And yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Anyway, before we get on to the build itself and the kit, while you're all saying hello to each other and hello to us and all that and the other, we can get our special guest in, who is the one and only Moosearoo Wrangler.
Good morning.
Hi, Ian. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Thank you. So, Ian is the Moosearoo Wrangler. He is over in Canada. And what time is it right now over there?
It's about 10 o'clock right now.
Oh, are you on to your second cup of coffee yet?
Yes, I am actually.
Bless you.
I have a pot next to me.
What's we like? Prepared.
Yeah,
Super
I'm prepared. This could be very interesting or otherwise. So.
It's being Malcolm, so yeah, it'll be the same standard as always.
It's always started with you, gentlemen.
Oh, you really don't need to carry on. Oh, but you could if you want to. Yeah, so it's really great you're here. Obviously, we've got you here because obviously the link with the Moosearoo build and an oncoming event that's around the corner for you in a few more weeks' time.
Yes. Here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, we are hosting Heritage Con, which is one of the largest model shows in Canada. That's going to be on March 26th this year on a Sunday. Doors opening at 9 o'clock for those who are interested. And it's a really good show. We have well over 600-700 entries last year. But that was with COVID restrictions, so we're looking for probably more than that this year. But Heritage Con is a model show that is primarily set up as a fundraiser for the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum, which is one of the premier museums here in Canada. It celebrates the men and machines that fought for this country. So it's a really good show. And IPMS Hamilton meets at the Warplane Heritage Museum once a month. And as a thank you to the museum, we offer to support them in a show. So the museum, it's actually the museum's show, but IPMS Hamilton runs it. And we use it as a fundraiser for the museum. all funds raised at the door, the table entries, the table rentals, the model show entry itself, all those funds go to support the museum and its various projects. So they've been very supportive of us. It's been a great cooperation between us. We have happily made them quite a bit of money to keep them afloat, which we're very happy to do. And we look forward to the continued support from them in the future. So the show is a IPMS based show for the people who are interested. We follow IPMS rules simply because we have to pick a system. There's too many systems out there to worry about, so we have to pick one. And we're an IPMS chapter, Hamilton. We are using the IPMS rules, and we're sticking to that. Unfortunately, some people aren't always happy with the turnout, but those are the rules. They're published. That's what we say that we're going to do. So we're looking forward to it. We have lots of vendors coming. We have 105 vendor tables available. Well, not available anymore. They're all sold out. And a whole lot of space for a lot of model entries. We have 83 specific categories covering all genres. So we cover just about everybody. And the whole thing is rather fun because we're in the museum hangar itself. The museum moves many of the airplanes out of one side for us, but they leave a couple interspersed amongst us just to add some interest. So it's quite an interesting layout.
You have a competition there as well?
That's what the competition is. The show is a vendor side and a competition side. So the competition, which is the IPMS rules, it's pretty significant in our area. We have people coming from northern United States, as far away as Quebec in Canada, which would be probably the same distance as somewhere in France to England, just for a one-day show. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got a special competition there as well.
We're going to be announcing something that was dreamed up called the Moosearoo. I think you've heard of that.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that. That was excellent. The Moosearoo Cup will the winners will be announced there. However, you'll have to have your projects finished before that, because we have the podcasters from all over the world, literally, from England all the way to Australia and everywhere in between, it seems. You'll have to finish your kit and submit us some high quality pictures for it, and we'll have a crack judging team review them, come up with a winner, and we will announce the winner for the 4th annual Moosearoo Challenge at HeritageCon.
Cool. So what's the history of the Moosearoo then, if people don't know anything about anything?
Okay, Moosearoo. Okay, moose and kangaroos. Moose, iconic Canadian creature, and roo, kangaroo from Australia. It's Moosearoo started more than 4 years ago. We missed one 5 years ago with David Goldfrench from On the Bench and Stuart Clark from Plastic Metal Podcast here in Canada. Had a little challenge between them, that just a friendly little get-together thing, that they would provide a kit and they would have to build it and see who's the better builder in the podcast. The problem was that you had two competitors who's going to judge it, and they both were acquainted with our HeritageCon chairman, Alan Morrell, who said, hey, yeah, you know what, we'll judge it for you. And that sounded like a good idea to Alan. And then the next thing I know, I'm getting a call and saying, hey, I got an idea. I made the mistake of saying yes. And we, from that point, it was fortunate because David Goldfrench from Australia happened to be traveling at the time. that they were to have theirs finished. So they met in Hamilton, and we actually judged the two subjects live right there at the museum, the Warplane Heritage Museum in Hamilton, which is close to where everybody was. We came up with the winner. The on the bench guys won that one, and they were wondering what to do the next time, and that's when I should have kept my mouth shut, because I said, hey, why don't you get IPMS Hamilton? We'll sponsor the next competition. Thinking it's only 2 podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that sounded like a wonderful idea. And we did that. Alan talked to some friends of his and some contacts. We got a hold of Les at Lightspeed Global, who's been sponsoring our kits for quite a few years now. And he was very willing to give us a couple of kits to use as the challenge. And so we did that. And obviously you saw what happened for Moosearoo 2 with the rotary wing version. And then from that point on, other podcasts decided that they would like to get involved as well. So, and now it has been growing and growing and growing. So Les has been continuing to sponsor us. So this year, you've seen the kit. Les arranged through Arma Hobbies to provide us with those beautiful pieces of plastic. And this year we went from 2 podcasters. Last year there was 6 podcasters. Now there's 9.
9.
Wow.
There's 9 of you guys. Yes, this is getting a little bit crazy here. But yeah, but it's been fun, and it's all a friendly competition. The 2 originators, David and Stuart, have graciously let us at IPMS Hamilton decide on what the challenge is going to be every year, and just to arrange it.
Foolishly.
Yeah, well, next year they may consider it foolishly because it's Stuart's turn to build. So, yes. So we may get a little bit interesting with the next year's challenge. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We got to get through this one first. But sorry.
So what's this year's challenge then? What's the kit for this year then?
This year, because we went to 9 people offering to participate, we decided to take a look at the demographics of all the podcasters, and it was like, yeah, okay, it's all over the board. We're going to have to pick something that's everybody can do, even though it might be in somebody's wheelhouse and it might be not. So we're just going to have to pick something. And at the time we made the choice, Arma had just come up with the P51B Mustang, BC. We decided that from what we had heard, that was an excellent kit. I actually had one in my stash, so we reviewed it and said, yeah, if we could get a couple of these. We weren't expecting Arma to give us and Les to give us the expert kits. We were expecting the basic version. But we got the expert sets. So we decided that, well, it's a competition of model building podcast. Let's just do model building. Build it out of the box. You have a kit that has everything except paint and glue. So build that. There's your challenge. Because a lot of you podcasters just can't leave it alone when it comes to modifying things. So the challenge is, there it is, build it out of the box. The kit comes with a wide variety of markings in different color schemes for different countries. Some a little bit even bizarre ones, like there's, I believe, a Japanese version of a captured one there. So there's something that should be able to spark somebody's interest somewhere.
Yes,
and
no, it's good. I like the choice.
Yeah, and the kit's excellent quality, and you don't need to buy anything else. There it is. You can do whatever paints you want, as long as you come up with one of those paint schemes. You use the decals from the kit. You can do whatever weathering you want. any style of weathering or painting you want. That's totally up to you. But you just got to build it from what's in the box.
Gotcha.
So,
Brilliant.
yes.
Well, I'm ready to start my model kit today, right here, right now, live. I've also got, when it was sent to me, I also got a top secret letter, which am I allowed to open it on live? I
Sure.
guess, it says top secret, but I think that was because it was ready for when it was released, wasn't it?
Yes.
So basically, the rules it lists here. The rules are that I have to complete it by the 11th of March.
Correct.
That's this year,
Yeah.
and that everything has to be out of the box, like you said. No extra bits and pieces. Specifically, wheels. Skip that. Entries will be judged by Open Hamilton, and you need to take loads of good, nice photographs, basically.
Yes.
That's fine. And then you're going to be judging it on a 50-inch or larger monitor.
Yes.
And it was the club's intent to project all entries on a big screen during HeritageCon 2023.
Yes.
And the winner will be announced. The winner will be announced on March 26th. So yeah, happy modeling.
Yes.
Wow.
It's going to be fun. In the past, the quality of workmanship that we've been seeing from all of the podcasters has been amazing. The different ideas, last year's, which James completed, that Gundam was very off the wall compared to some of the other ones, but
Yeah.
it was really well done, and it was surprising how the judging went for that, because the judging team had high resolution screens and we were looking at them, and we were able to zoom in, and it got down to the details. It really was, because everybody had a different take on it. Everybody had their high points. Everybody had a couple of points where, well, you could have done something there, but you didn't. But it was all really well done. We were really impressed with all of the entries, and it was a really, really tough choice. It took quite a while and quite a bit of discussion to actually come up with a final winner. So,
good.
So we do take this seriously, even though it's a lighthearted thing. We do take it seriously.
It was funny because when I did that particular build, I purposely went for a look that was a little bit like Marmite. You either liked it or you didn't. So yeah, just my mind. Yeah,
well, the look was very different, very attractive, very distinctive, but the trick is it had its major advantages. It won points on a lot of things, but some of the other guys had their own twists on it as well, and they won a few points. And it was, like I said, it was very difficult to make a choice. It was it took us a while. There was some serious discussion going on. So,
well, I'll tell you what, Ian. When I build it, it'll be really easy for you to make a choice. So don't you worry about that. I've already chosen which option I'm going to go for. So I already chosen it because I've already done some research. Now I'm going to go for the Ding Howell one. So this is flown by Major Howard, and it flew out of Boxted in the UK, but it actually landed at RAF Greenham first, or USAF Greenham, which is up the road from me. So it's actually been less than a mile away from me, this aircraft. So that's the one I'm going to go for, because that makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Plus, I don't fancy doing any masking of or any natural metal finish. So that's the one. And also, it's right on the front. So there you go. A bit more research for me. Yeah. So I've been collecting and making sure I had lots of books. I've got these books, and I've got this book about Greenham Common. It's in there. I've also got a whapping great big book about the Mustang. And I've been buying these over and in and out of the time that we've been knowing we were going to do this. I went to Duxford and I bought this book, from the Duxford Museum. So yeah, I've got loads of research and loads of stuff, so I shouldn't go wrong.
Yes,
So
you also actually went and looked at the actual an actual Mustang too, I believe.
oh, and that, yes.
Yeah, I keep track of you guys.
Yes, Ian, it was so long ago that I forgot. Yes, that's right, we did. It was the B version we went to see. Now, of course, it was absolutely fantastic to see it, but we were looking at a restored version of the B, and there are some things, obviously, in these days that flight engineers have to do that they didn't do in the past. So there's a couple of things that they had changed since. But it was interesting learning about the differences. And yeah, it was just fantastic to see such a big, beautiful bird in the hangar being restored. We had a great time, really did. So I will begin.
It was also incredibly interesting to watch Malcolm on his hands and knees, literally crawling underneath an aircraft and getting all excited over the rivets. It was an interesting day out.
There was a part of the aircraft where you could see right through it from one side to the other.
Yep.
It was around the tail. In fact, I think it's possibly this part here. You see that hole?
Yep.
James stood one side, I stood the other. I could take a photograph of him through that hole, which was, I don't know why that tickled us, but we're just boys at heart, but it did tickle us. So yeah, we got lots of photographs and lots of exciting pictures to go by. But yeah, this is the kit. I don't know if you guys can see.
Just before you go into the kit, I have been showing them the messages coming through, but I'm just going to quickly run through them. We've been joined by quite a few people. We've got Moss 6510 Models is here, Total Scale Models, Scott Gentry's there, Plastic Model Mojo, greetings from Tuxford, Kentucky, sorry. I don't know where that come from at all. Martin's there. He's saying some early risers check in, and it certainly is. Rob Herring is there saying he's tweeted us. He's tweeted us. So that might get a few more people in. Lots of comments about the kit. Plastic Alchemist saying 51. P51 is obviously something he draws over. Martin saying a great box art on that kit. And he also questions the fact whether you actually counted the rivets on your visit. And David Scully's just come in and said, "Afternoon, lads." There we go.
Yeah, afternoon. We didn't count the rivets. We looked at the rivets, didn't we?
Well, we did look at the rivets very carefully, and even the nuts and bolts and screw heads and all sorts. Yeah, it was very in depth. Look, got to be honest.
Yeah, do you
we were
remember
very fortunate.
These ones were different rivets. They were screws, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the kit. Loads of lovely detail. A tiny bit of flash on there, but nothing I can't clean up. There is detail all over the thing. So nice. Also, what is nice is the detail on the underside, which is it's just difficult to do. Engineering wise, that's all in the cockpit there too, and the wheel wells showing some detail as well. So lovely, can't wait. Also on here somewhere is the. I'm gonna have to zoom in super well so you can see this. Let's see if I can actually do it online.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, and it's focused. Look at that.
Really. Yeah, so there you go. That's the wheel wells. Don't know if you can read that on there.
I can't read it now.
No, there's rudder pedals for the wheel wells. So not only are you not going to be able to see the rudder pedals anyway, but you're also not going to be able to read what it says on the rudder pedals. But the option's there if you wanted. If you're a real foot pedal connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been reading about Major Howard, and he was very tall. He was over 6 foot. And so he had his seat all the way to the back. There's the seat there. He has his seat all the way to the back, and he had his rudder pedals adjusted so they were even further down. So you're definitely not going to see him, because I'm going to try and have it adjusted as if he would have been flying his bird. So yeah,
Wow.
very cool. So we've got the.
Is he a similar height to you, Malcolm?
No, he's quite short actually, comparatively. I'm a whopping 6'6". He's only a meager 6. Oh, that's a good question. I know he was over 6 foot. I don't have that that data to hand, unfortunately.
Well, let's go to the clear plastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Crisp
and super shiny. Yeah, it's got the Malcolm hood options, which is great. All the older one options. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna leave it in the bag, because notoriously the plastic part, small plastic parts, fall off, don't they? So that's going back in the bag, as I learnt from my previous build. And there is the decals. Wow, nice bright blue background for those.
Yeah, there's a lot on there, isn't there?
Well, I don't have to put them all on, thankfully.
No, that's true.
I think, but yeah, there's the Ding Hao ones on there. But yeah, great. Looks pretty good. Not sure they're too thick or not. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, and it's got buckles, but it also comes with, because it's the expert set, it also comes with the photo etch as well. Oh, a radiator, the front radiator. Not sure how much you'll see of that, but we'll have a give it a go. But yeah, that's nice. With all the stitching in there. That's good. I haven't used photo etch in years, so this is going to be an exciting adventure. I tell you. And then the instructions.
You'll mash it.
Hey?
I said you'll mash it.
Oh, we'll mash it, but whether it'll be like mashed potato or smash it, I don't know. We'll see. That's sort of fake stuff. There we go. And then the instructions are typical Armour Hobbies detailed instructions, which is grand. Lots and lots of options. I have to go through and work out which colours I want. I've already got some colours with me already, but I know I'll need those ones. Cockpit green, black, and a bit of chromate. So those are ready to go. Yeah, I'm going to start off. I'm going to kick it off. You can chat amongst yourselves.
Yeah, kick it off. That's lovely. So if any of you are watching, there's 24 people watching now, and Scale Model Ninjas just popped in and said good afternoon. If you've got any questions for Malcolm, by all means throw them in the chat, or to myself or Ian. We'll quite happily do a quick round of chat of answering questions if there is any. Ian, I seem to remember you telling me that 1/72 is your scale.
I typically build 1/72. That's what most of my collection is, mostly because of space limitations. I've also dabbled in the 1/144 scale stuff as well, but yeah, that was years ago. The eyes aren't quite as good, and the fingers seem to be a little bit fatter nowadays for some reason. I don't know what happened there. So yeah, yeah. So 70 seems to work for me still. So I'm sticking with that. And I've got several of the Arma kits now, and they all look gorgeous. I have most of the different Hurricanes for sure. Mostly because I do a lot of Canadian subject matter, hometown type stuff, and they are just as amazing as that Mustang as you see there. So Arma has done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I must admit, when Malcolm got it, I was a little bit grinning around the gills over it, thinking, "Oh, it really must get one of those." And I was tempted to get one and build it with him, and then I thought, no, I really can't. So yeah, he's on his own on this one, but he's going to do really well. So, do you do predominantly aircraft?
I sort of split my time now between aircraft and armor, and 72nd scale armor as well. So, and I've done quite a few things. I've been reasonably successful at shows as well, so I've managed to build up a bit of a collection. It's probably way more than I've ever uh, managed to put together in my lifetime, but that's pretty much the same as most of us. And the Canadian subject matter is really interesting because the Canadians never seem to want to do anything straight off the shelf. They always have some
No.
weird twist to their stuff. They always put something different on it or go
Mhm.
with a little bit of a different design. So makes it a bit challenging. But
Okay.
it's fun.
So does that mean you have to modify the kit to fit into the
Uh,
builds?
sometimes, or
Yeah.
a bit of kit bashing, or turret off of here on a hull off of there, or something like that for the armor things.
Mm.
Aircraft, it's usually markings, trying to find Canadian specific markings. But
Mm.
fortunately, nowadays, with some of the aftermarket suppliers, we have some excellent decal manufacturers who do custom decals and markings um, at a nominal fee, of course.
Mhm.
But when you want that specific aircraft, they will do it for you. So, which is great because I have quite a few of those. It's Canadian specific, and yeah, it's just a niche that I enjoy. I'm retired from the aerospace business. I've been building the real airplanes for 30 odd years. So
Mhm.
uh, dealing with the smaller versions, I get to actually put them together the way I want them to go together.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't have to
Yeah.
listen to an engineer.
Yeah. No, I can imagine that. Mike was just saying, was 72 in or out of your comfort zone? Malcolm, it is 1/72 scale. Is that in your comfort zone?
Um, yeah, it is. I'll build anything. Tiny things like the Warhammer stuff, and big ones like the 32nd scale Corsair I just finished. So yeah, I don't really mind about the scale. There's going to be lots of tiny pieces if you're model building. That's it.
Mm.
If you're building something bigger scale, you're going to have lots more tiny pieces. So no, I don't mind. I don't mind. I mean, a lot of my uh, paintbrushes are quite small, so I guess I like the small stuff. The smaller the better, really, because it takes less space and takes less paint.
That's true. 1/72 not really in my comfort zone. I've done a few, but a little bit like it's been alluded to already. My fat fingers seem to get in the way, so I've progressed to 1/48 or and bigger. But yeah, certainly armor in 1/72 that doesn't thrill me. Plastic Alchemist is just saying there that he's built the Hurricane and the Wildcat and loved them from armor model. So yeah, they do look amazing kits. Lynn Dipple says she's sneaking in, giving hugs, and off she goes. Says hi to Malcolm and myself and Ian and everyone. Loads of hugs to everybody. Take care. Speak to you soon. Yes, take care, Lynn. Carl Smith from Making Models is saying hello. And we've got Gary Stuff there saying hi everyone. Unexpected bonus for a Saturday afternoon. It is indeed, yeah. So it's interesting, isn't it? Where a lot of people seem to think that the smaller scale has far too many small parts, but yet the larger scales equally have small parts.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, Ian?
They have smaller parts, yes, but again, when you put the larger scale on the table, there's a lot of tiny parts, and in some cases, or in a lot of cases, the small parts in the larger scale aircraft are smaller than the 72nd scale, just because they're going for the fidelity. So it all depends, and it also depends on the kit. Some manufacturers will amalgamate many parts into one, or many details into one part. Other manufacturers will make everything individual, and you have to put it all together. If their engineering and molding quality is excellent, then it works. If your people or your subject audience have small enough fingers and good enough tweezers, the smaller the detail, the better that the expert modeler is going to want. So it's I find that it all depends on what you really want out of modeling. I I I am no longer a super fanatical detail specific modeler. Like I don't have to have every switch and wire installed.
Mhm.
I want something that looks good on my shelf. That looks like the subject. It's reasonably accurate, painted up right, looks like a miniature version. That's what I
Yeah.
want to do. And there's many modelers like that, but there are modelers who want to have every individual detail be able to be picked out with a magnifying glass. And to those
Yeah.
people, I think you're nuts, but my hat goes off to you because you have some amazing modeling skills. So
Yes. Well, I agree.
So
I agree.
that's interesting because given your background, did you go through a phase where you wanted to add all those extra details in, or is it just something you thought, no, I'm just not that insane?
I did. I started off just sticking it all together, fingerprints and all. Worked my way up. Then I started adding detail and more detail and more detail, and doing it, and then entering competitions. And when you enter competitions, you think you got to add even more stuff, and it got to the point where adding all of that extra stuff that really isn't visible and really isn't improving what I finish with
Hmm.
started making it not as much fun. So I started phasing back on the amount of extra bits and pieces I put in. I still use a little bit here and there if there's a very visible spot that needs some detail added. I'll add a little bit of detail. I may not go to the maximum, but I'll add something just to give a representation. Just you know, just to give that good impression. Whether it's completely accurate, I'm not as concerned myself and my modeling. So uh, I guess I've gone full circle. I
Yeah,
used to do
sounds
it.
it.
I I have boxes of extra details that I bought for kits, and then when I started putting them together, realizing, yeah, I don't even really need all of this stuff because I don't see it, and I don't want to deal with it. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting back to the point where I want this to be a fun hobby as opposed to a way of you know adding medals to my display cabinet and stuff like that. I've been through that. I've done it. I don't need any more trinkets and trophies anymore. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, it can be like that when you I wouldn't say you chase the medals, but you get involved in competitions and you want to excel yourself a little bit more each time, etc., etc. I can imagine the journey can become very clouded at that point because you're trying to outdo that next person. You don't quite know what they're going to do.
yes. Um, Modeling competitions, if you're not careful, can be a very dangerous rabbit hole. You fall down it and you never know where you're going to pop up and you never know where you're going to end up. And sometimes it works out really well for you, and sometimes it ends up in massive disappointment because you didn't understand which turn you were taking. So competition. I may be the chief judge at Heritage Con, but you know what? Modeling is still basically supposed to be fun, right? So
Absolutely.
as long as you make sure you maintain that joy level, you're going to be good.
So Martin's just saying there he loves a small scale also because he feels it's more forgiving than the larger scales, and there is space issues as well. Absolutely. A question for Malcolm from David. Dave, sorry. What do you think is going to be your greatest challenge to complete this kit?
To complete the kit. Is that I see. I don't know yet. Possibly making sure I've got the right version and I've built the right one, because already out of the box. There's decisions to make about which one you're building, which is fine. And it might be because I'm doing it live. I'm trying to concentrate and listen at the same time. It might be that. But finding it a bit confusing about which bits I'm doing. But never fear. You're right on the night. The thing I'm worried about, I'll tell you what I'm really looking forward to, is doing the modulation on all this green. That's going to be really interesting because I've got a lot of photographs and things like that, and there's some really interesting ways that the exhaust fumes come out the side here, and when they've been cleaned and when they've been not cleaned and all that sort of thing. So it's interesting looking at all the ways that it weathers. So I'm not so much interested in the construction part of it and making sure it's right, but obviously it's going to be judged, so I've got to try and do it as right as possible. That's possibly what I'm not looking forward to is the construction, and I am looking forward to the weathering. Okay.
Yeah, you do like the weathering and the painting process.
I do like it, yeah. So if someone could build it for me and then pass it on to me, and then I can weather it, but that's not the rules.
No. How about yourself, Ian? Is there a particular part of the process of model making that you enjoy more than any other?
I like the build. I like fitting the pieces, getting them together, alignment, getting it all to look right. That's the part I enjoy the most. Basic painting, your basic colors and things like that are also pretty good for me. Depending on the complication of the paint schemes, how tricky and number of colors, and is it a sharp demarcation line or is it a faded one, and things like that. Those can be okay. I really start to stumble now with weathering, dirtying it up, because there's a bit of a hesitation of you can mess it up real easy after all of that work. You could spend months building it and screw it up in a matter of minutes, and just a little hesitation with that. I'd still do the weathering, but again, weathering is a matter of taste. Do you have to have 1,400 different layers of modulation with everything else to have a nice model on your bench?
Yes, you do.
Some people want to. Great, fantastic. Some people don't. Some people like museum quality, factory fresh, nice and shiny, and that's just as good too.
I think it depends if you're making what your story is, the narrative that surrounds the model. So if you're doing a diorama, for instance, you need to be able to tell the story that this was in the dirt and in the mud or in the winter. If it was obviously, if you're just talking about the model or the vehicle itself, then yes, you would have to make sure that perhaps you don't weather it so much.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're just putting it on your shelf as a display item, you can go from factory pretty to in service for 6 months without any real surface maintenance. But if you actually want to put it into like a diorama or even on a scenic base, then you're definitely going to want to make the weathering match to blend it in to give it the perspective, the sense of being. So
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you tend to find, especially I tend to find anyway with aircraft, a lot of people display their aircraft with the base, and you're right. Sometimes the base doesn't reflect necessarily the aircraft of what they've done to its finished, and it does detract away from it, which is a shame, because the amount of work they've achieved to get the look they've got it is phenomenal, but it gives that little minus. Just my interpretation, really.
I think a base is nice, but obviously if it's not being judged on the base, then you don't need to put a base in, do you?
No. So as a chief judge, what would be your advice to anyone that might want to enter a competition? Have you got any like small tips that you could give them that would may aid them in that part of their journey?
Yeah, probably the first one that jumps out at me would be consistency. Well, that would be the second one. The first one is basic building. Make sure you're lined up. Your wheels aren't wonky, or your tailplanes are square or whatever. But beyond after that, that's all the basic stuff. But beyond that is consistency. If you're going to weather an aircraft or a tank or whatever, make sure it's consistent. The right side is consistent with the left side. You can have a really dirty fuselage with massive amounts of exhaust stains and chipping at the cockpit, but if your wings are pristine clean with very little of anything on it, you've missed the consistency part. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's one of the first things that I see when I'm looking at a model, is how the overall model blends itself together. Has it been done with the same amount of effort? The amount of a really super dirty cockpit with a pristine airplane. Yeah, when you put a model on a table with an open cockpit, the judges is going to look inside. So all your modeling effort inside has to be consistent with your modeling effort on the outside.
Oh God. Okay.
Close the canopy. Fortunately, we didn't give you a tarp to cover it, so you can't use that.
No.
Ah.
How am I possibly
Actually, well, as you brought that up, Ian, we've been kicking around an idea. As you know, we were talking earlier about group builds and bits and pieces, and last year we come up with a zany idea about doing a walnut challenge build. So you made a build with inside a walnut. Now we've allowed that to carry on, mainly because I still haven't done mine. But we were talking about potentially doing something as zany. What are your thoughts on a tarp group build? That's a good answer.
Oh, that's a tricky one. Because there's quite a few different avenues you can fall into that one with. Just between the shape issues and what you're trying to hide under a tarp or what you're trying to cover can be let the modeler's mind run amok. That would be a really interesting challenge. You could come up with some really, really, really fascinating subjects with that. And judging from what things I have seen, like your walnut challenge, I've seen a few of those. You are going to come up with some really, really fantastic ideas.
Yeah. What can you hide under a tarp? That's what I think.
Yeah.
What can't you hide under a tarp? It doesn't matter. The trick is, from what I see when I hear that challenge, it's not what is physically under the tarp doesn't really matter. What you think is under the tarp is what the key is going to be.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's right. Because I think when we were at Duxford, I think, weren't we? And we were talking about the tarps, and it was under a tarp. And we were saying, "Oh, we just chuck a tarp on it; it'd be fine." I think that's where it came from. So, what can you hide under the tarp? So funny.
Oh, there you go. You heard it first. That's going to be 2023's group build for Just Making Conversation. It will be a tarp build.
No, it isn't. We haven't discussed it. It might be.
Oh dear. Yeah, stay tuned. It might come up. It was Malcolm's idea anyway, in fairness. I'm
but
stealing his limelight. Yeah, but I'm the mad one. I'm the one that will make it happen. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because yes, it's what's under the tarp, what the tarp looks like, but then how are you going to replicate the tarp? That is going to take some serious modeling skills and efforts. That's not a simple challenge.
Nope.
And not as simple as it sounds.
You could have something under it, and you have to guess what it is as well. So is it a chieftain or is it a challenger? Could be neither.
And it could be something much more smaller and suggestive. It could be
It,
all kinds of things, right?
it could be a load of
Mhm.
boxes built to deceive you.
Yep. Yeah. And how big does the tarp have to be?
Yeah, what scale is it? Oh,
Yeah.
dear.
Well, obviously 1-to-1 wouldn't work, but I think any scale other than that, we like to leave things as open as possible to
Cover
the
you in a tarp.
imagination. Me in a tarp.
Yeah, cover you in
Yeah.
a tarp. That would be good.
I'd probably look a lot better. Making models says the group build should be build a model upside down and paint the underside.
Can you kick it out or not?
Oh dear, let's have a quick look at other things that have been said in the chat. I did highlight it earlier, but Tony was just saying, hi chaps, I'm waiting for my second cataracts operation. It's rather difficult to build even within 1/35th with one good eye. I sympathise with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Martin saying exactly, I restarted modelling last year and always near the end of the fear of one mistake at the end will ruin the build. I can't shake it off yet. No, it's at the end of the day, I think, Martin, I mean, this is my personal view, but when you do model making, you have to accept that you're going to make errors, mistakes, and other words. And that's part of the journey. Embrace it. Turn that negative into a positive, and it won't bother you.
Absolutely. You're going to make mistakes.
And a lot of people, I think, set their own expectations a little high, is for the one thing. And another thing that I had a friend, I still have him, but many, many years ago, we were discussing similar items, and he said, you got to remember, you're dealing with plastic. There's nothing you can't fix in plastic. You can always fix it. So,
yeah. And if you can't fix it, you can always make it into something that looked like it was meant to be like that in the first place.
yeah.
So, there isn't a way around it. Any negative, turn it into a positive, especially with model making.
Yeah.
Don't let it ruin you.
Or the other choice is that you just deny you ever tried. You hide it, deny you ever tried. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The kit was,
chuck it away.
Yeah.
the kit was like that when I got it. Honest.
Yeah.
So talking about kits, manufacturers, Ian, any particular favourite manufacturers for your choice of builds?
Oh, no, not as in specific favorites. No, I have virtually every manufacturer, I think, in my collection, and including at one point I've had ones that no longer exist, some that should never have existed, because that's what we do. We also collect this hobby. But quite recently, I've been quite taken with the Airfix line. Their new moldings have been just hitting my mojo just right. They have enough detail to keep me happy. They actually are quite detailed. The fit is in almost all the cases is really, really good. The mold qualities is generally very good. And they're getting better every time. So I'm enjoying the new Airfix ones. But I also enjoy building the Edward. You can't go wrong with a Tamiya kit. Arma obviously is good. In the small scale armor side, you obviously have things like the Dragon kits, and some of the new Trumpeter and Hobby Boss kits are excellent. TACOM is dabbling in 72nd scale too. All the manufacturers now are coming up with a wonderful product, and the quality is just notching up every year, all across the board, I think. So the manufacturers are really stepping up to the bar, and they're really doing well. And I'm happy. My wallet isn't, but I am.
Do you think we're being spoiled too much by them? The amount of things in which they're stepping up and achieving.
I don't think we're being spoiled too much. I think there is enough of a range in these kits. There there's enough of a variety for and skill levels for the beginner, internet, and intermediate level modelers to be able to pick it up, start off, grow, develop skills. Uh, those ones, that end of the market, I think, is really doing well. And also the upper end of the market, where you have the super detailed, high quality stuff like your P51B here, is meeting the top end of the market. And it's a market. It's a wide range of people you have to keep happy in this hobby. Uh, I'm a member of a club that has everything from people who are just putting their first kit together to people who have won at the IPMS USA Nationals. So all within the same group. So you have to run the entire gamut. And obviously something that a Nats builder can crank out in no time would be a real challenge for a beginner. So I think we have enough being put out by the different manufacturers now to keep all of those groups happy one way or the other. You can't keep everybody happy, but
No.
I think they're doing really well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I share that. The thing I like about it more than anything else is there are particular model companies that are bringing out the finer detail stuff, and then there's others that bring out a model that covers everybody as much as possible. Of which, if you want to go crazy and add lots of other stuff, there's lots of aftermarket as well, which is something I've noticed, partly because I've looked a lot more over the last 5-6 years. But there is an awful lot of aftermarket out there now, and not just where you can change the decals or the paint scheme or whatever. It's so much you can add to a model.
Oh, you can change anything you want on the model, from engines, propellers, exhaust, wheels, landing gear, entire sections of the aircraft. It's all available, whether it's resin or 3D printed or photo etch. All of these things are available to us. Like, people bemoan the fact that the hobby is dying, and then it's not. We're in a heyday right now. There's more stuff, more quality stuff available today than ever before. In fact, it's too much in some cases. I've been building models for a lot of years, and if I was just getting into it right now, and I were to go online and say, "Oh, I want to build a 72nd scale Hurricane," well, I have a plethora of choices. And then if I were to do something really silly, like, type into a Hannett's website, 72nd scale Hurricane, and come up with 21 pages of aftermarket details and decals and masks and everything else, as a newbie, a very new start, I'd find that really overwhelming. So it's all there if you want it. And the people who just don't have their one, specific, Hurricane with the 5-spoked wheel with the Dunlop dash tube type tire on it, if they can't have that, they get all upset. I don't have a lot of sympathy for them, because there's everything else out there. So
yeah, it's all there. It really is. You just got to look for it. So Scott Gentry's there. He's just saying, if you're not enjoying the model, then what's the point? Try new things, have fun. If you mess it up, get another one. You'll learn more from your mistakes than you will learn from successes. Yeah, it's very true.
Yep,
very true.
Very true.
I was talking to someone about that literally last night, and I can't remember who made the comment, but there was a comment that was, or a quote from somebody that said, "You learn nothing from success; you only learn from failures," which I thought was quite apt, because once you've done it, you've done it. You can move on to the next thing. But you learn a lot more from mucking things up. So don't be scared by it or put off by it.
Yeah, because the thing is that once you've accomplished it, once you've built a kit and you've managed to do the paint, do the finishing, do the panel lines and everything else, that's great. That applies to that kit. The next box you open may pose completely different challenges to you. So you never do stop learning.
No.
I like I said, I've been doing this for a lot of years, and I'm learning new stuff every day, and sometimes from the most bizarre sources too. People, newbies who've overcome a challenge themselves, and it's like, crap, why didn't I think of that? I've been doing that for wrong for 30 years, or I've been doing it the hard way for 30 years. Like, there's so much stuff out there. There's so many different ways of doing things that there is no one way to build a model. There's no one way
No.
to paint it and no one way to finish it. So
No.
well,
And you quite often find that. You're right. I mean, I've had that scenario a couple of times where someone new to the hobby has tackled a particular task and done it in a way in which you're just like, well, Jesus, that's so simple. Why did I never think of that? And it's just because of those fresh eyes are looking at the scenario. Yeah, definitely. What's your thoughts on 3D printing?
oh yeah, okay. My personal thoughts and my thoughts as the chief judge at Heritage Con is, yeah, the whole 3D printing thing is a tempest in a teacup. 3D printing is just the 21st century of resin casting. You're producing a model part or a model or whatever out of a different media. Resin was the same thing when it first came in. Yeah. It's just a different media, right? Not everybody can do it, but everybody can use the parts. The highly detailed parts that 3D printing can produce is no different than the highly detailed resin castings that people were using 15 years ago. So I don't see a big issue. And especially in an IPMS based competition, for example, doesn't matter what it's a 3D printed part or not. It's how well you put it together and how well you've integrated those parts in. Right.
It's a tool. It's another tool. That's how I see it.
It is.
Yeah.
And some people are great at using the tool, using the product of that tool. Some people have the skill sets to produce those parts, which the CAD driver who can do it. They're the same guys who has the detailed skills to build the masters for a resin mold that they would be using. There's the analogies are perfectly parallel as far as I can see. Right. I'm sure some people are going to disagree with that, but I know some people who are still upset about photo etch. So
yeah, that's true. So do you think, as in a competition side of things, I mean, I don't know if you would do it in your competition, but do you think it's a category in itself, 3D printing, or maybe it should be a category?
No. Why?
No.
No, we don't have a category specifically for a resin kit. It's the kit. There's no way the 3D printer is going to print a finished, painted, weathered model to put on the table. They can't do it. So it's a matter of that you print the kit, the parts, okay? Or you cast the parts, or you get injected molded parts. Nothing, no different. IPMS competitions are based on how well you've put the parts together, whether they're resin, photo etch, plastic, whatever. It's how well you do it. And the number of times I've seen in contests, people have bought everything for a kit, resin, photo etch, vac form canopies, everything. But if you haven't done the modeling skills to put those parts together properly or cleanly, it doesn't matter how much money you've spent. It's how well you put it together. Yeah. And that's what an IPMS based competition is about, is how well you've put the model together. So other competitions may have other things to focus on, but IPMS contests focus on the modeling skills. Simple as that, how well you've accomplished building the model. So
cool.
Okay, that's probably going to get me into hot water too. So
Well, it shouldn't do. I think your answer was spot on. Personally, I've had a couple of conversations this last year gone with a couple of modelers about such things in competitions, and you're right. Realistically, if you're building something that's modulated and you stick the bits together and then you paint it and weather them, it's all the same process. It doesn't really matter where that started, whether it be in a box or in a liquid form that you 3D printed. It makes no difference. In some respects, you could argue it takes a little bit more skill because you've designed it yourself, but you can buy the designs already for you to print, and there is a skill. Don't get me wrong in printing. I know that because I've often failed, but yeah, so it's the same process. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you was, so going back to the show you're going to be putting on, etc. And I don't mean this in a way, this question to set you up in any way, but is there a particular part of the process of doing the competition, not the competition, doing the show, that you find the most enjoyable?
Oh, putting on the show. The show is much bigger than just the competition, and I'm pretty much only involved in the competition side. A lot of the organization and the vendors and the guest speakers and things like that are done by Alan and Duncan and all the other members of the committee, and they're doing a fantastic job. So I there are some things that I enjoy when I go to the show that they would be doing, but when it comes to the competition side, I think the part I like the best as as the chief judge and as the modeler is watching from year to year the modelers who have come in our junior levels and have moved on into the senior levels and are doing well. I think that is probably the best thing or the best part of the competition scene that I like, at least in my show, or I shouldn't call it my show, the show that I'm deeply involved in.
Yeah.
That's probably the best thing that I like about it is watching the juniors come in for their awards when they've won, and then when you see a very young modeler take an award in a senior category, that's really good. I really enjoy seeing that because I've this is what my sixth year of the as chief judge at Heritage Con, but I've been involved for many years before that. So I've seen some of these modelers progress. So, and it's good to see. I really like to see that.
Inspiring.
Yeah, it must be very satisfying to see them coming through the ranks, as it were.
Yes.
Yeah.
And learning, and some of these junior modelers, they are sponges, right? You get somebody who has won an award that they know of, and that person takes the time to talk to them, right? Give them a few pointers, give them a little bit of a tap on the shoulder, a bit of encouragement. It makes their day. That's good. We really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. Al's just saying in the chat there on the show question, the best part is seeing the attendees smiling and the social interaction. Yeah, always the best side of a show.
Yeah.
And Rob's popped in, said good afternoon. So, Malcolm, quick question for you.
Yes.
Mine wants to say, any thoughts from you now you've started the kit?
It is terrifying doing this live. That's my initial thought. Is every little tiny bit that I do, every little piece that I put on, if it doesn't quite go on right, I've got how many people are watching?
Oh, there's only your mum and my mum, I think.
Oh, both of us. So there's at least 4 pairs of eyes on me right now. And yeah, it's just scary. Just scary because people may go, "Oh, I wouldn't do it that way." Oh God, what is he doing with that? I wouldn't use a green file on that one. You
Are
know?
are you feeling under pressure because the chief wrangler is watching your every move?
No, not at all. Actually, it's his dulcet tones are relaxing me in that kind of way. Have you
I
ever
had that.
considered doing? Go
I
on,
had
sorry.
that habit or that trait of putting people to sleep at work as well too. So
Not when they wanted to be.
no, not when they were supposed to. Yeah.
No.
Oh, brilliant.
So my impressions of the kit so far is beautifully made. Like, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but there's little runners on here for all the radio equipment, and everything's supposed to slide on the runners. And then they've included all the radio equipment for all the different sets of things that you can get, which is great in all the different options. And I have to check to see which option or which way round my radio equipment's supposed to be, which is really cool. So yeah, it's a lovely kit so far. Whether I've done it right or not, I'm sure, but we'll find out. We'll find out when it's scrutineered and inspected with a fine tooth torch. No, not a fine tooth torch.
Torch.
What they could have done, they could use dentist tools, couldn't they, to get into the cockpit?
Hey, I'm an advocate for using the little pen lights and judging. So
Yeah, hey, yeah. So the little mirror on the stick.
Yep.
Get one of those, and then a little light, and then you better see all the. Oh God, no, that's the thing.
now my hat goes off to Malcolm for actually building the cockpit live for this,
Yeah.
because my fear would be that little ping as the small piece goes into hyperspace.
Oh yeah. That's right. Then it's suddenly, well, I'm not going to be building that bit anymore. There's nothing you can't really scratch build these days, though.
No.
It's all plastic. It's all going to be going the same. You need something you can whittle it out of putty or something. Not too worried. It's fine. It's fine. But
Malcolm,
yeah,
have you got any questions for Ian? Because I need to just nip out a second.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sure. Do I have any questions for Ian? What do you worry about when you're? What's the main thing that you get concerned about when you're doing your setup for the competition? Is there anything that kind of keeps you awake at night? Concerns you, or what's the thing?
Oh, you only want one thing.
Yeah. All right. What's the category of things then?
Well, actually, there's a bunch of things we worry about, and there's not much we can deal with up until the actual day of the show. And it's the big one is how many people are going to show up, or how many entrants, I should say, show up, and in which category, because we have to lay things out. And one year you'll have a plethora of 32nd scale multi-engine aircraft.
Yeah.
So did you allot enough space for that or not?
I see.
Right.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And then the next year, you'll use whatever you learned from the previous year to say, okay, large aircraft, we need some more space. You'll give them more space, and two will show up. So you never know what you're actually going to have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest stressor on the day.
Can you make it so that you can move the barriers or the edges or the borders quite easily?
Oh, we do. Yes, we our barriers are literally ribbon tapes that we can adjust the sizes.
Yeah.
But you can get to a point where you don't have any room left on the tables to adjust them, right? So, well, we can, expand that category, but these three categories are going to fall off the end of the table. So
yeah, I'm with you.
So it's a juggling thing that we do. Every competition has to deal with it as well, because you never know what you're going to get on the day of the show.
Yeah, you should try to accommodate everybody as well.
We try, and we give everybody space, and we have to add and subtract as required. And it's an ongoing challenge because, again, you never know, and a lot of the things are very trend sensitive. When Revell came up with the 32nd scale German, with the Henkel 111, the Ju-88, and there was a series of other 32nd scale twin engine airplanes that came out, all within a year, all of a sudden they all started showing up at the shows. And previously we would have one or two very large aircraft, but now we have multitudes.
Yeah.
So we'd be having to juggle those.
Yeah.
Gundam is a category that has exploded in the last few years. We made allotments last year to increase the size,
Mhm.
and we misjudged it. We needed even more space because more of them came out than we even imagined.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like it's a constant thing we have to juggle, and sometimes it looks like we're a bunch of fumbling buffoons on the day of the show mixing around space. But
Hmm.
when you have no idea what's going to show up, then you really can't do much.
Do
But
you? Yeah, I was just saying about space. Do you have an online system, or do you? Is it kind of as you join the group, as you join, you don't know what. Sorry, as you walk in the door. I'm trying to find number 13. It's confusing me. As you walk in the door, that's when you decide that you're going to be entering the competition. So you don't know beforehand because there's no online.
no, we this year we don't have an online system.
Right.
We tried an online system last year as sort of a homegrown pre-registration system.
Yeah.
But we found that it was overly cumbersome on both ends, and the back end was very, very difficult to work with. We
Right.
managed to struggle through, but it wasn't worth the effort that we put into it. So we're looking into a new online system, but we couldn't get it in time this year.
Right.
So we've had to revert back to the old analog system. Yeah, you fill out your form, you come in, and we hope we've guessed right.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, a lot of shows have been doing the same system for decades. Well, ever since shows were started.
Mm.
So yeah, we've reverted back to that system for this year only. We've got concerted efforts or concerted plans to move ahead with an online system. It has a lot of benefits other than just model entries and keeping track of how many you have in a category. There's other things you can use it for, but it's a matter of having the right people in your club who are familiar with the systems. You basically need an IT guru to run a show nowadays. You need to have
Mhm.
somebody who has all the IT expertise complete with database management, computers, audio visual systems, everything, right? So the online system is coming, but not this year.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
So
yeah, talking
Malcolm
about
was just
this
go on.
kit.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. I've got it. I'll take this one. So with this kit, so just so you know, what we're dealing with. This is the cockpit here. Oh, you can't. Hang on. There's your cockpit. Okay, there we go. Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
These are my fingers. There.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. Now there's a pipe that comes out of this part here, and it is on the instructions. Just case 6, B13. This one. Sorry, I'll try and find it. There you are. B13. So it's a pipe that sticks out the top, and it goes into one of those holes, which is on the what I just showed you on the plastic. Okay. So that's fine. That's really fiddly. Crikey. But what you also find is that there's a decal to go on the end of the pipe.
Oh, didn't we mention all of the decals in the cockpit on that aircraft?
Holy moly. So there, in the middle there, K6, is my pipe end. That is my finger.
And just to describe that for the non-visual version that will go out later on, it's really difficult to try. If you can imagine a pinhead, it's not probably far off. I wouldn't think.
Okay, well look, there's a scalpel blade. There's a scalpel blade. It's smaller than the letter E on my scalpel blade. It's smaller. It's almost as small as a cell. A cell on my body. Oh, how do you know? and I don't think my camera can even focus that. Do we have a microscope available for me to do this?
No,
ask
but
mate.
but now
Ask
that
them-
you've mentioned it, I'm glad I've got the 50-inch TV.
I think I might
that's
need
brilliant.
that. I think I might need it just for building. So
Oh.
that's what I'm going to do on now, and then I'm really glad that we decided to do this live. It's really good.
So, just remind us, what kit are you building, Malcolm?
Yes, sorry, we should have that up on the
That's
screen,
right.
shouldn't we? That's one of these. It's the P51
So-
BC, the expert set from Armour Hobbies.
Okay. And Dean was asking, what scheme are you going to go for?
This one here, the dung. Yes, the Ding Hao one. Mr. Major James Howard flew it, and was just for a couple of weeks. It's just up the road at Greenham. So that's the one that I'm going for. It's also the largest of the schemes.
Oh dear, brilliant. And Martin's just asking the question, who doesn't like Declan? Oh dear.
That's not
Lynn was
Declan, that's something else. That's not Declan, is it?
Lynn was a little bit concerned because we're all looking at K6, but have you seen K4?
What? No. Hang on. Not while I'm in the middle of this. I'm just going to put that there. Okay.
Okay, let's change the subject a little bit. Stuart's just saying a top challenge is genius. Hell, I'm going to build one anyway. Yeah, do it. Pop a picture up on the Facebook group. We'll start the ball rolling. We'll get him. We'll get him to agree. Don't you worry, Stuart. We'll get behind. Everyone get behind it, and yeah. Anyway, so I just wanted to double make sure you're okay for timing because, believe it or not, we've been talking for nearly an hour and a half.
Oh wow!
Oh,
Usually, what happens when you get
that's
usually what happens when you get a bunch of modelers together. It's like you start talking, you start nattering, and generally the wife or somebody comes down and says, "Are you done yet?" It's like,
Yeah. That was my wife at 2:00 this morning. Are you going to bed at any point?
Yeah.
But,
So this is so after an hour, I've got to hear on the instructions, which you can't see.
No, you're super out of focus.
There. So I've got to there after an hour, and that's where I've got to. Yeah. But yeah, hey, I'm enjoying it. I love it. I love the comedy value of it.
Yeah. Yes, your fellow podcast competitors really enjoyed all of the decals that go everywhere else in that cockpit as well. So.
Oh yeah, I just saw K4 as mentioned in chat. Thank you, K4. Is here, and it is I don't even know. It's a switch, I think. K4 is smaller than K6. So oh well, it's fine. It'll be good. It'll be fine. I hope that you look at this. I hope that when you get your dentist tools out and you're inspecting this with a microscope, that you look at my K6 and decide whether it's central to the pipe.
I actually I'm writing that down. Malcolm's K6.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. To be honest, as I've been watching the other podcasters do their little bits and pieces, and they point out little things where they've struggled with, I've taken little notes and say, well, let's see what they finally finished with.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's interesting, isn't it? Because it's about how you get through the challenges, isn't it? As well.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is supposed to be a challenge.
Yeah,
well, that's good.
Absolutely.
24th scale kit next.
Whoa, hang on. Unless you're doing it.
Oh no, I'm not doing it.
No, you're up next.
Oh no.
No, don't worry. We haven't decided on what the next challenge will be. We've had some fun with some discussions, and it's been a wide variety of things, ranging from very simple to absolutely devious. So
right.
we haven't decided yet. So
Well, we'll see if James and I are still friends after this, and if there's even a podcast to exist. So, that might be the thing. You might have killed the podcast.
The funny part is when the kit turned up, I said to him, "Oh God, I had to do a Gundam. You got a really easy kit."
Oh, it'll be fine.
No, you'll smash it. You know you will. Not literally. No.
Yeah.
Oh, look, I've got it on. Just briefly, it's on now. If you want to take notes.
So this is his pipe.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Pipe.
Is that the right hole?
Shut up. Yeah. This is fine.
I know.
Yeah, but it's perfectly straight too. I'm going to get my spirit level out. Got a brand new bubble in my spirit level, so I know it's straight. There you go.
That's where you were this morning, getting new bubbles. All right.
Yeah, brand new one.
I thought so. So, do you want to wrap it up, Malcolm?
Sure.
I'm feeling sorry for you.
No, I'm not. I'm fine. It's just it's I will be building this anyway, whether I have a camera in my face or not. It's irrelevant, really. And then go back and I can watch this later on and go, yeah, I really did mess that up. That's where I went wrong. That's why I went wrong agreeing to do this in the first place.
Right,
so far, I haven't seen a fingerprint, so you're looking good.
Yeah,
oh.
I've shaved all
He
mine
has
off.
been watching.
Yeah. Well, the only reason you put fingerprints is so you can say that's my model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Martin's just saying, I really want to thank you all for the efforts you put into sessions like these. Same goes to the fellow podcasters, some of whom are present here. All this and the podcast has brought me back to the hobby, and I haven't looked back since. Cheers from Holland.
Good.
Bless great. Your heart. Yeah, that's what we do it for.
Yeah.
It is literally what we do it for. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we when we started this podcast, we were determined that it would become part of our hobby and not a chore, and it's just fun, and it is.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. I think you're right. It's absolutely fun, and if it wasn't fun, we wouldn't be doing it. But we also do it for the millions of pounds that we get as well. You know, the massive amount of money that they make.
Millions of pounds of what?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, BS. We do it. We do it because it's fun, And if there's people along the way coming along on this crazy train journey with us, then they're great. All for it. It's all good.
And I can only speak about our podcast, but if it's a crazy journey you're looking for, you're in the right place. With us two nutters, definitely. But there you go.
You guys do have a unique take on this, and I do enjoy it myself. So when I used to commute to work, yours was the first one that would come up. So that's still not going to do anything for the competition, but I did look at you guys on the way to work. So.
I thought that envelope was working then, Malcolm, for a second. God damn it!
It has to.
Bless you.
I've got to put yours with all the other podcasts that keep coming in too. So we're more. No.
Yeah, no, we purposely make an effort to make sure that we don't take ourselves too seriously. So, we often, in fairness, sit up in the early hours of the morning recording, so that probably has part of the effect as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Bless.
Make sure we enjoy it, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. So Martin's just saying, he's still trying to explain the walnut thing to his wife.
Okay, well,
I'm not sure where that's going, but okay.
What was he trying to explain? What a walnut is, or
your walnut challenge? I think.
Yeah, I guess
that was the statement. So yeah, I guess it was the walnut challenge. Yeah, don't worry. There's lots of people that don't understand it.
If he's having problems with a building inside a walnut, what's he going to say when it comes to a tarp?
Do you know the funny part about that build? The one thing that astonished me more than anything else is each time I spoke to somebody about it, like at a show or something, and just happened to have a pocket full of walnuts, because Malcolm. Yeah. Anyway, we won't really tell that story, but yeah. So we're walking around, and I'd see a modeler, someone that I look up to and think are great and all that, and say, "Have you heard of the Walnut Challenge build?" And they're like, "No, what's that?" So I'll explain it, and they're like, "Why would I want to do that? That's crazy. That's absolutely insane."
Yeah.
And so I give them a couple of nuts as I leave, which made me chuckle anyway because I'm leaving my nuts with you. But anyway, never mind. So yeah, and the amount of people that have actually contacted me and said, "I've got so many ideas. I didn't think this was it just never in my mind's eye." And you horrible so and so, because now I've got 101 different ideas and I don't know which one to choose.
Yeah, that's right. People have lots of ideas about what they're going to put in their walnuts, and it's quite fascinating. And outside of their walnuts too, don't forget.
Yep, indeed. Okay. I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap it up because we've been going for an hour and a half.
Sure.
You guys in the chat have been absolutely amazing. Loads of questions, talking amongst yourselves. That's just what we want for our audience. So thank you so much. Ian, thank you so much for being with us. It's been an absolute delight. And I could keep you here for hours, but I'm not going to be that mean because I'm worried your coffee jug has run out.
Oh no, it's a big pot. Well, thank you for having me on. And like I said, it's been a joy. I've really enjoyed the banter between the two of you and being part of it. And thank you for giving us our moment in time for Heritage Con. And all the best to Malcolm with his challenge. He's working along quite nicely. I figure at the rate he's working at it, maybe about 10:30 on the 11th of March, he'll be done.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Do you want it painted?
It's just a representation of a kit, so you could just build it naked. Done. Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm thinking out of the box.
That would increase our viewing figures.
It has some interesting comments, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I say, we're going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been an absolute delight. And great. I'm really looking forward to the pictures and all the stuff from the show. If you happen to be in Canada and around that way, please go and check them out. They are a great bunch of guys, really supportive to the hobby, really supportive to us with the Moosearoo and all that. And we couldn't be more, well, I certainly couldn't be more pleased that Malcolm's involved this year. But yeah, on that note, ta-ra, everybody. Be good. Bye.
Cheerio. Bye.
Cheerio.